So how do you improve a car like the Jaguar F-Type? I mean, it's already pretty gorgeous and pretty brilliant to drive, so what do you do to make it actually better? The not obvious answer might be to take away 2 cylinders and a bit of cubic capacity and give it a 4-cylinder 2-litre turbocharged engine. Now, this is a route that rival Porsche has been down recently with its Boxster and Cayman, giving it the 718 2-litre flat-4 turbocharged engine. Not everybody was very happy about that because although it's a very efficient engine and very good to drive, it doesn't quite make the same nice noises that the old 6-cylinder engine did. Now, the F-Type 4-cylinder version does suffer slightly from the same problem. It still sounds decent, it even sounds quite good, but it doesn't sound as bombastic nor as brilliant as the V6 or V8 versions. Then again, how could it? Very few engines of any description sound as good as those larger F-Type units. What is good is that you do get plenty of power, 300 horsepower, which is better than 150 horsepower per litre, and you do get plenty of performance. This car is not super fast by any means, but it is quick. Jaguar has updated the suspension, it has also updated the interior with this slightly revised touchscreen. It's also given it slimmer seats to liberate a little bit more legroom. And it's revised the steering because the engine is lighter than either the V6 or the V8, and all of that weight reduction has come from the nose. So this car does get revised and updated steering, and Jaguar reckons it's actually more nimble than the V6 or the V8. It certainly feels it on the road. This is a very agile, very enjoyable car to drive. It has 2 distinct personalities. You can sit back and cruise, let the car take the strain and use it as a Grand Tourer, a GT, just a way of crossing country very quickly and very easily. Or you can turn it all up, you can revel in that brilliant, reactive, responsive steering, that beautifully poised chassis, and really start chucking it through some corners, and it responds beautifully. This is a terrific car to drive, no question whatsoever of that. Now the engine, well, I suppose it will be an issue for some people that it doesn't sound as good as the V6 or the V8, but you can't expect it to. It only has 4 cylinders, and in fairness, Jaguar has done a lot with an optional sports exhaust system which makes it sound much crisper and gives you a delightful little overrun pop and burp sound as you pull a downshift paddle or back suddenly off the throttle. It's still entertaining, it's still cool, and for my money it's a good bit cooler than either the Boxster or the Cayman. The engine is about the same in terms of technology, in terms of performance, in terms of economy and emissions, but it just sits in a car that's so much more exciting to look at than either of the 2 Porsches. No disrespect to those cars, but they just aren't as gorgeous as this F-Type. They don't have the same heartstring tugging appearance as you approach them down the end of a darkened car park. The biggest advantage of all though is in the CO2 emissions, because this smaller, lighter, more efficient 4-cylinder turbo cuts the F-Type's emissions down to 165 grams per kilometre. It means you can also knock 20 to 30,000 euro off the price tag of the most basic V6 engine version. Now that makes this a much more tempting buy. It drops it right into the middle of Porsche, Boxster and Cayman pricing. Suddenly a car that was always close to 100,000 euro in terms of its most affordable price is a much more reachable car, even for, okay, I understand 65,000 euro, which is roughly what it will cost, is still a lot of money, but it's not quite as much money as it used to be, and it makes the F-Type that little bit more attainable, and that I think is going to make a big difference. It'll never be a huge seller in the Irish market, sports cars just never are, but now you actually could theoretically buy one, use it every day and not break the bank. So, a 4-cylinder 2-litre turbo, not a better engine, but a better car.